radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network.
All right. Welcome, Fade to Black. How you doing? Today's Thursday, April 10th, 2025. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Let's do this, man. All right. Now, every Thursday, I say the same thing. Yep, I do it just to make everybody angry. I do. Today is my Friday, not yours. That's right. Wrapping up another great week here on Fade to Black. And I want to remind everybody how amazing this week was. You know, Monday, Ella LeBain with us, UFOs and the End of Times. Absolutely remarkable conversation. Tuesday night, Richard Voot live with us from the United Kingdom, Osiris and DMT. Huh? That was a good show, wasn't it? Last night, Maria Mayer with us. And to have a doctor on, a primatologist on the show who is actively searching for Bigfoot is one thing. But to have that primatologist discover the smallest primate in the world, undiscovered, bringing that to the world in the scientific community, also looking for the largest primate in the world, right? Absolutely incredible to have a guest like that on the show. And what a great conversation. And she reached out to me last night after the show, wanted to thank the audience and everything else. And it was just an amazing conversation. And we're going to close out the week tonight with Stephen Bassett. And Stephen is an activist. He's been on the show many, many times. Somebody that I've known for a very long time and I've got a lot of respect for. And tonight we're going to be talking about the Hollywood Disclosure Alliance. And we'll eventually get to what is happening in Washington, D.C. and Capitol Hill and UFOs and UAPs and all of that other stuff. I want to remind everybody that for now, I have 4 major events coming up. I've got in 2 weeks, I'm hosting the Contact Modalities Expo. That is May 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in Delavan, Wisconsin, at Delavan Lake at the Delavan Resort. Man, high class, man. It's going to be amazing. And not only am I hosting, but I'm also presenting. And we've got a lot of great events, amazing speakers. And so your tickets and information and everything else that you need are in the links below. Then I come back from that for Contact in the Desert. And that's May 29th through June 2nd in Palm Springs, California. Immediately after that, this is all back to back, I head to Peru with Brian Forrester for the Inca Celebration of the Sun, summer solstice. We've got special seating right there in Cusco. It is going to be an amazing event. Then we're going to go see the rest of the country. We're going to go to Bolivia as well. And this is one of 2 tours I'm doing this year in Peru. This is the first one. The second one is in November, also about to sell out. They're both sold out. So if you want to go in November, we have a few spots left. And so before that is a no-go. Click on the links below for Hidden Inca Tours. Then I come back from that and turn right around and head to the East Coast for the Psi Games, the Psychic Olympics, all-star lineup. I'm a game show host. I get to host this amazing event. It's going to be so cool, first of its kind. And that is August 1st through the 3rd, 2025 in Charlottesville, Virginia. All right. I've got a very, very, very busy year. And we've got a huge announcement that will be coming on July 1st. There's a reason for that. And when we do the announcement, you'll understand why. But it's a big one. And I can't wait to get this out to the world. All right. Tonight, Stephen Bassett is with us. And like I just mentioned, we're going to talk about the Hollywood Disclosure Alliance. What is it? Who is it? What's the mission? What is it to our community and for the rest of the world? All of that and much more. We know that Stephen is an activist, the Paradigm Research Group. What is an activist? Well, Stephen will tell us about that tonight as well. He founded PRG back in 1996. He is part of this community and is always moving things forward. I would like to welcome back to Fade to Black, the one and only Stephen Bassett. He's right there. Stephen, good evening, young man.
Hey, Jimmy. First of all, I want to apologize to Fade or Not because my main camera is broken. I'm having to use a backup. I think I sat on it.
You know what? No, Stephen's lying, everybody. I'm calling him out. He told me before the show his makeup person did not show up for sound check. So he didn't get his makeup done. And he's blaming his, to me, his appearance on, and now he's saying it's the camera. But I know the truth.
Yeah, I think he had a party.
You didn't get the powder. You didn't get the powder.
Yeah. I think he had a party to go to in Georgetown. The other thing I want to say is that every time I come on the show, there's like new graphics, and they're so fantastic, right? So I just want to let you know that I suffer from graphics envy. It's a problem.
I can't. I would love to say. Well, first I'm going to say thank you on behalf of our team. I would love to take credit for it. I don't do shit. I don't do nothing, man. It's so cool to have. You know what this is like when you have a team around you that you depend on and they deliver. You first off, you hang on to them. When somebody comes to me and goes, "Hey, man, do you have a good graphics person?" I go, "Nope." Nope. You got a good website? Nope. Nope. You got somebody to help me produce the show? I've got nothing, man. I've got nothing. I don't share it. I keep that stuff. I pay them well. I do, but I keep it close to my chest.
You pay well, praising, not so much. I get it.
Yeah, right.
Okay, look, it's great to be on again. There's a lot going on. But I appreciate the opportunity to talk about something that's very, I think important and dear to my heart. That's the Hollywood Disclosure Alliance, which is founded with my partner, Dan Harari, who came up with the idea and approached me at a conference. And I instantly wanted to do it. It was like, and we immediately got into it. I think we put it together about 3 months. Now it's been about.
Well, let's break it down, actually, because we've got the word Hollywood in there. So that already implies something. So what does that imply? What's that telling us?
Overreach? No.
Right.
It is very significant. But the first thing I want to point out is this was set up not as a disclosure process entity, really. It's not about helping to get the disclosure, though it may. There's a lot of people doing that, and we're winning. This was set up like a number of new organizations for the post-disclosure world, anticipating where we're going to be after we get the confirmation from all the wonderful heads of state. Other organizations like the New Paradigm Institute, Soul Foundation, UAP Disclosure Fund, and others, and even where MUFON is going, if you look at them, you realize they're setting up for what's coming, which is going to be way bigger than what we're doing now. This is an activist effort to get some truth from the government. Post-disclosure, we're going to be involved with changing the world, hopefully in an incredibly important and profound way. So how is it that way? Why is it a post-disclosure? One of the ways the truth embargo has been able to stay in place for almost 80 years, one of many reasons, is that the major media, the professional, well-funded, high-end media, just didn't want to deal with this issue, not in the real sense. Eventually, right on in 1951, they realized, well, this is a cool subject. And they started making sci-fi movies. Remember the day the world stood still and those other ones? I love them. They've made about 600 now that have gone to the screen, the big screen. So I'm not even talking about any streaming or stuff like that, but 600 have gone to the big screen. Not a single documentary on this subject has been given that privilege. And I speculate, I'm not trying to judge, but I speculate that the reason is that they got a good deal. They're making billions and billions, probably well over 100 billion in total revenues on these sci-fi movies with ETs in them, not just any sci-fi.
But when you
But
say no documentary has,
That's
what do you
right.
mean no documentary has not
Hundreds of
what?
documentaries have been made about the ETs. You know about that, right? We've got
Okay.
colleagues and friends that have made them. Out of their back pocket, raising money from their aunts and uncles, whatever. But no documentary has been given distribution on the big screens. I'm not talking about renting a theater for 2 or 3 nights. I'm talking about 1,000 and 1,500 screens. And believe me, there are documentaries that have made a fortune. Fahrenheit 9/11 is I think made about 400 million in today's dollars. Inconvenient Truth made a fortune. They don't cost that much to make. So why in the hell aren't they putting out some really high class, well funded, highly produced docs on this issue to a world that can't get enough of it? Because if they put it on the big screen, it would give it gravitas. It would make it large. It would make it more important. And that would be poking the bear. And the bear I'm referring to is the United States government. So they chose that path. I'm not criticizing here. I understand exactly why they might have done that. Okay, with that in mind, now we're moving closer to disclosure. And disclosure is coming. Then we have another issue. All the people that have been carrying the water, that includes you, Jim, and all my colleagues that we know and guests you've had for decades, many of which have left us now. I've got about 120 of those people featured on my in memoriam page on paradigmresearchgroup.org. Got information about them, got a link and so forth to honor them. Why? Because they were doing all the work the government would not do for us. They were the ones seeking the truth while the government lied for 80 years. It was brutal. It was difficult. And you were stigmatized and laughed at and called jokes and whatever for decades. And that was about all you got for doing that work. And yet they relentlessly continued to do this. These people must be acknowledged. They must not be left behind by the new people that show up and say, we've got it now. It's hot. It's rolling. We got the bucks. Don't think about those people. There is a twist of logic that kind of operates here. And I'm not trying to be bitter, but it goes like this. Back then, people were thought to be crazy that believed in this stuff. And then many decades go by and the mainstream world discovers, oh, you were right. But you're still crazy because back then when it was stupid and crazy to believe it, you believed it. So you're still crazy. So would you get out of the way now? Because we're here, we're taking over, right? And we're going to go from here, going to make movies, going to do big organizations. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. And this has happened in history before, but not this history, not in the age of the internet and social media and podcasts and archiving everything. We have the ability to make sure that the whole history, the citizen research history and journalist history and podcast film histories will be recognized. And hopefully as many of these people will be able to participate in the post-disclosure world as possible, which is why we set up the Hollywood Disclosure Alliance. Me and Dan Harari, a publicist in Hollywood for like 40 some years. He knows all the big stars. So it's simple. Why don't we create an organization that has 2 types of founding members in addition to a board? Hollywood founding members, got to use that. You got to use the Hollywood, right? It's a given. But that stands in for the entire content creating world. Whether you're filming in Canada or the UK or India media, I don't care who. If you're in the content creation business to make films and docs and stream or whatever the hell, yeah, that's Hollywood. Okay. And then we have the UAP founding members. And the UAP stands in for all the citizen researchers, the citizen activists, the citizen journalists, the citizen documentarists, and even contactees. Right. So that world. Now, some of these people have got a foot in both camps, so they have to kind of pick which one they want. But right now we have 205 members split right about down the middle. We've got some movie stars. We've got 1 Oscar winner. We've got some of the top people in the field. And so, but what's the mechanism here? What's going on? It's simple. Hollywood Disclosure Alliance is a 501c3 nonprofit in California that can accept tax-deductible money. We are going to use that to build a networking operation, a networking entity that helps people get together and do deals. We don't We don't negotiate. We don't take a piece of anything. We're just making it easier for them to find each other. Okay. So all the members on the Hollywood Disclosure Alliance website, HollywoodDisclosureAlliance.org, they see each other, right? So the Hollywood people see the UA people, and then the Hollywood people see the other Hollywood people. So right there, you got a whole bunch of people that have put their face up in their bio that are basically saying, I'm down with this ET stuff. You want to do a deal? Got a script? Got a book? Whatever. All right. And then people outside, like the big shots in Hollywood, I won't name names, you know who they are. They can kind of go there and drop in and go, interesting. I was thinking about making a doc. Maybe I should talk to that guy.
Well, have they? Have they yet?
Oh, no, there's no question that deals are being done. There's no question there's things in the works. We don't monitor that. All we do is give them a chance to do their thing, and then they do that on their own. Now I have people.
But the question's a direct one. I'm very intrigued with this. Has a deal been put in place that was facilitated via the Hollywood Disclosure Alliance? That's just yes or no. You don't have to give me the specifics.
I am certain that is the case, but we're not asking people or telling people to come back and say, "Oh, I did a deal, I did that." You know, usually when you're doing deals like that, you know, you're discreet and so forth. You don't brag about it, you don't talk about it. But I assure you that things are happening. Particularly
I hear you.
All right.
But for the audience and also for the Hollywood Disclosure Alliance, I think it would be great if you were able to say, yes, our goals are being met. Our goals were to do this and to facilitate getting stuff out there, documentaries on the big screen, and deals are happening now because of our efforts. That's my point, and you should brag about that.
It's not that I don't want to brag. I'm simply saying that it's not our position to be telling who's doing what deal and everything. That's not the way it works.
Nobody cares about specifics. They just want to know that your efforts are paying off.
Well, I would invite anybody to go to the site. Just look at the site, go through the members, see how it's set up, and just ask yourself, is things happening? You bet they are. Just look at the people and who they are. Trust me. And so there is that, right? Help them make content. For what?
Right.
When disclosure takes place, I mean, there's plenty of opportunities to make content now. And by the way, the big shots in Hollywood, whose names we will not speak, they know what's going on. They know more that's going on than I know. And many of them already know there's an ET presence. They are making their moves. Well, I can mention these names. Spielberg has already announced he has a very substantial film coming out in 2026 that he originally called as a working title, The Disc, and then changed it to Disclosure just to send us a message. What the final name will be, we don't know.
They're in production right now.
They're in production. There's another one that just got greenlit with some major producers involved. That was announced. J.J. Abrams has done now 2 4-episode series, one called UFO and the other called Beyond. I think that's part of the title. That's 8 by Bad Robot. I mean, this is one of the biggest entities and he's one of the A-listers in Hollywood. And I want to mention, I'm not really being critical here, that he did not involve a lot of the people that you and I know. He didn't reach out to some of the people.
He missed it. The promotion on it, the promotion was swinging for the fences, right? And we were all excited. I'm not here to critique or criticize because anybody's efforts are commendable, right? But
I'm not criticizing JJ, I can assure you.
Man.
I'm just saying that there were a couple of mistakes.
The first episode, I was like, oh, okay, here we go. And then the car drove off the freeway and into a cornfield. And
again, the
caught
point
fire.
I'm making is it's great that he did that. There was good stuff there.
It is. Because it was Showtime, right? That was
Showtime is where it was where it was shown. The point is that when he does that, he's putting the gravitas of J.J. Abrams behind documentary confirming material on this issue. Then Spielberg finally does his first docs on this. He creates a 4-part series called Encounters. This is a message to you folks. When these dudes are getting in, it's happening. All right?
Yeah, the Spielberg was good.
But he
that
did
was a
have a
really
couple
good.
of mistakes that could have been avoided if he reached out to the people that not, just the citizen researchers. All right, whatever. Okay. So I assure you, there is a lot of content in the works in the mainstream Hollywood industry. They're going to cash in on this. And let me go further. When disclosure comes, and boy, it could easily come soon. 8 billion people, 8.3 are going to find out almost overnight that there's ETs here. We're not alone. And it's going to be the biggest event in human history. And there's going to be an unbelievable desire for content. Oh boy, they're going to go watch all the other stuff that's out there. There's going to be opportunities to make a lot of money on positioning stuff, bringing it back, and that's fine. I hope that happens. But then they're going to be eager for new stuff, and the big shots are going to be producing some great stuff. But where are our people? And so the HDA was set up so that, and we'll probably eventually have 300 to 400 members within a reasonable amount of time. It's set up so there's many of the people that you and I love and know, Jimmy, who have been on your show, are going to be contributing to, producing, consulting with, maybe even launching from scratch this content that 8 billion people are going to be wanting. And by that, I'm making it very clear. Untold hundreds of millions of dollars are going to be made by creating content in the post-disclosure world to inform that 8 billion people, not only about what's going on, but everything that happened that's been kept from them all these years. And so the HDA is designed to help network the people we love with the people that are important, that got the money, got the production, to be part of the post-disclosure production. It's the only organization really of its kind. There is one other that's somewhat similar, that was kind of a model that most people don't know about, but it's a very important entity. It was started way back in 1990, I think 6, and it was founded by Lynn and Norman Lear. I think you may be familiar with Norman Lear.
Mm-hmm.
And it was started with millions of dollars and a incredible awards banquet. Every big shot came, and boom, off they went. And what it was is the Environmental Media Association. Now,
It was a big deal. It was a big deal.
And it's still a big deal. Believe me, it's there. It's got all kinds of high-end people involved, very high level. But the goal was this: can we connect the massive film industry, all its ability to create content and all that, with the myriad of environmental activist groups? Back then, environmental activism, it was cool. Apparently, it's not cool anymore. But whatever. The environment's still here. So they to get them together, so when they're dealing and making this content about what's going on, they get the message right. And of course, that's providing support. A lot of the people that I'm sure that are on the Hollywood side of the Environmental Media Association almost certainly have donated very large sums of money to the environmental movement, which is funded a lot more than the extraterrestrial phenomena movement. But that's the closest thing to it. I'm not saying we're in that league. Believe me, that is
it's a big organization. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
How do you facilitate and coordinate movement?
Movement?
You're saying that you want to be able to bring production and the coordination and the logistics together, but who is letting the other side know that you are here? Are you guys on the phones? How do you facilitate that to let them know that you are here?
Well, Dan Harari is a publicist. So we've had articles in the Hollywood Reporter, Deadline, a number of other magazines, very significant press releases have been put out. And of course, we got 100 some Hollywood members, and they have friends. We hold events. We have one coming up on the 27th, but they're limited. We have very modest resources, but then the website is pretty clear. You just go there, and you can see it. Right? We don't facilitate, meaning we don't start picking people and put them together. We don't give advice. We don't consult. We are a pure networking entity structured to get a particular outcome in terms of people getting together, how they get together, when they get together, what deal they strike. That's their business. It's not ours.
Okay. I'm on the website now. I'm sorry. I'm a little distracted here. I wanted to check
bring
it
it
out.
up as a share.
So when you say, I think you mentioned an Academy Award winner.
Yeah.
I think I know who that is.
Shirley MacLaine, 90
Oh,
years old.
yeah, Shirley MacLaine. No, I wasn't thinking Shirley. Yeah, Shirley's great. No,
Well,
I
who's the
thought
other
you
one?
were who? Hynek, Joel Hynek.
Well, no, he's not an Academy Award winner, but he is the son
Yeah,
of J.
he won
Allen
an
Hynek.
Academy. He won an Academy Award.
No, is Joel up?
It-
Did you see him on the site? Is he finally up?
No, but that's who I thought you were going to
Well,
mention.
Joel Hynek is Paul's brother.
Well,
and
we
Joel
know
is
that he's
Academy
been.
Award
He was on the show last week.
Yeah.
But my
So
point is, so you have 2 Academy Award winners.
if Joel had not made the decision to join to ball on the Hollywood Disclosure Alliance. Now, if he has and I missed it, we have 2. If not, we still have 1. We're working on Joel, though. We'll get him eventually.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So 2. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Who else is part of it? I want you to name drop.
All right, you have to understand. I'm as old as dirt. All right, and so can I bring up the website? Do you mind? Is that okay? I'm going to bring it up.
You want me to bring it up? I'll bring it up.
Well, you can do that if you want to share it. That's fine.
Well, I have
survey.
the technology, but you probably won't be able to see it because you don't have your reading glasses on.
Yes,
There,
I do have my reading glasses
see,
on. I'm
I
not
said
that
it.
old.
I said it. There it is,
Okay.
right there.
All right. And can you scroll it? All right.
I can do whatever I want.
This page is the front page, and you can read the mission, right? It's pretty straightforward, right? And it explains it much more eloquently than I have explained it. Now go to the top, and at the top you'll see founding board. We have 21 founders board, and then you see the 2 founders. That's myself and Dan Harari, and you can read our sterling backgrounds. And then you've got where is it? Where's the founding members? All right, and that's the executive board, which includes whatever. That's the executive board. Okay, come on down. This is the board of directors. Earl Grey Anderson is well known in the field. Earl is having a real health challenge now. Wish him well, please. Keep on going down.
Saw that post.
Tim Crawford had UFO TV forever. I mean, he's done 150 docs.
Yeah.
There's Dan, the
Joseph
co-founder.
Buckman.
Yeah,
Wow.
Joe's in there, baby.
Wow. I haven't seen him. I'm glad he's back.
That's because he's always touring Europe looking for his ancestors.
Yeah.
And then we've got Chandra Blonsky, well known in the field, Carolyn Corey. Okay. So again, UAP board on one side. I mean, found Hollywood on one side, and wait a minute, go back up. And then UAP on the right. Now, that gentleman you see there, scroll up, is Thomas Jane. Thomas Jane is a very accomplished actor. He's had a tremendous career. He didn't really go for the super big roles, but he's had some tremendous movies and so forth. He's done a lot of fantastic series. And of course, he was incredible in one of my all-time favorite series, The Expanse, right? Which one of the best sci series ever. And we've got Paul Hynek and so forth. He is one of the board. So, keep on going down. Ron James, him. Ron Janix, who is running the Contact in the Desert, which is coming up. Michael Mazzola, who produced most of Greer's movies. Gordon Peckrell, who is an investor. And Louise Puzo Strickland is an amazing woman based out of Nashville. Just a huge asset for us. Well known in the music industry. Nick Pope, I don't think he needs an introduction. Sean West is an agent, right? And he represents more UFO people than anybody in the country. And as of recently, and he's been around for years and years, as of recently, his revenues from his UFO people or UAP people exceeded the revenues from his non-UAP people. That's how things are moving there. And then you've got Robert Salas, the leader of the nuclear shutdown witnesses, and of course, Danny Sheehan. So we got a pretty solid board here, okay? And then let's click on the members, founding members. No, that's the founders. We want to go to, just hold it there for a second. Where is it? Founding members, supporting members, right? Click on that, maybe. I think that's it. No, that's not it. That's kind of like a. Why can't we find the other one? I'm sorry. These are people that are not necessarily members, but they're supporting, but also, but come on, head on back. Have they done something different? News and Village Store doing a press channel, contact founding members. Founding members. Click on founding members.
No,
And
that's
now
just
click on
Stephen
Hollywood.
Mann.
Now click on Hollywood. Right there. Okay. Now this is the 100 Hollywood founding members. There's a lot of people in there that are pretty accomplished and known in this business, in the film business, I assure you. And yeah, do we want to get the Spielbergs and some of the big shots? Yeah, but you have to earn that. Takes a little time, but we're getting there. All right. Craig Campobasso, he's written books. He's done docs. Mark D'Antonio is very well known. Keep on going. Serena DC has done several docs. She's done a lot of things in the last couple of years. She's really coming on strong. Christina Engelhardt, and so forth. Keep on down. See if there's that are more better known. Well known. Okay, keep going. Sid Goldberg, we know him. He's really that's Gaia. That's basically content creation.
What's he do? What's he do?
He's very much involved in the creating content with Gaia.
Oh, he works for Gaia.
Mm-hmm. Keep going.
He looks familiar. I've seen him around.
No, he's been around a long time.
Has he really?
Okay, keep going. Who else we got? Keep on sliding. I'll grab it as it comes through. Okay, keep going. Keep going. And then Shirley, of course. All right. And okay, Michael Susi, Jeremy Norrie, Michael Connell. So these are all people that are in the business without question. They've been involved in lots of productions. Almost every one of them has an IMDb page, of course, which I think we should have linked there. But if we don't, I'm going to fix that. So again, this is the about 100 Hollywood members. Oh, go up a little bit. I think most people know that lady right there, Dee Wallace, right? Remember?
Yeah, of course.
Films that she was in?
Spielberg.
Absolutely. So now, if you just go up at the top again, if you still have the patience.
You know what's funny? Last night, I talked to about half of the people on this page on a daily basis, right?
Yeah.
And but anyway, last night after the show, I started. I'm binging 30 Rock for like the 5th time, the entire series, and I'm like in the middle of season 3. But Lori Wagner, her favorite TV show of all time is 30 Rock. So I'm watching 30 Rock last night, and it was like 10 o'clock. And what time's the show end? It doesn't matter. It was after the show. And I'm like, man. So I text Lori. I'm kicking it on my couch. I said, what are you doing? Nothing. And she calls. I just texted her. She calls me. We ended up staying on the phone till 1 a.m. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Lori's the best. I've done a few films with her, and she's just great.
We have a lot of great people in this organization, HTA, I assure you. If you'll go back up the top, we'll look at the UAP people. I think you'll know some of them. You got to scroll back up to the top, and we'll click on the UAP members.
Okay, hang on. UAP,
okay.
UAP.
Now, hover over founding members. We need to fix this, by the way, and we will. Then come on down to UAP and ET. There you go.
Yep.
Bridget Barkley, well known. Chris Bledsoe, what can I say? Kim Carlsberg, a very famous contactee. Everybody knows Michael Carter. Keep going. Let's see. I can't call them all out. Todd Curtis is a wonderful guy. I think cool. You know some of these people here. All right. And let's keep going. Richard Dolan, I think you know him. Britt Elders, of course, is been working for Shirley MacLaine and one of the early investigators of Tracy Garbutt. Jim Garrison, who ran the State of the World forums back during the age and was part of the Gorbachev Foundation. Rebecca Hardcastle Wright, who has exoconsciousness, and of course Linda Moulton Howe. Leela Hutchison has done some great work. Come
Yeah,
on
she's
down.
great.
Yeah,
She's
she's really
great.
nice. She needs to get more attention. Margie Case held many conferences. Lynn Katai, every year she shows at the anniversary of the Phoenix Lights, she holds a movie totally packed every time.
Yeah. I
Jim
was there
Ledwood,
last year. So cool. So
Tonya
cool.
Maidenford has made several docs. She's still making docs, of course.
You know, I proposed marriage to Tanya like a half a dozen times.
I actually did. No, never mind. Let's
Yeah, I know
Jesse
you did.
Marcel.
Everybody does. She's the
Everybody
best.
did.
You know what's amazing about Tanya is that she has, well, first off, she's got the greatest smile like in the history of the known universe.
It's good.
But she's so intelligent and so smart. And so with that, this combination of brain power and just an amazing smile and her talent, right? It's second to none. And people are attracted to and want to be around people that are like that are successful, that carry themselves well, and are just of service to the community and everything. She's just an amazing soul. And
Yes, and she's in Switzerland. I think we need to get her back here because I can't get enough Tonya time. Go up a little. We forgot somebody. Go up. Jesse Marcel III, grandson of Jesse Marcel.
Mm-hmm.
We're thrilled to have him. Kathleen Martin, of course, is the niece of Betty Hill. Jason Martell has done a lot of stuff in Ancient Aliens. Okay. And let's see. Another 2L. Let's see. Keep going. Steve Morello. Of course, he was involved in MUFON in LA for years. George Norrie. I think you're familiar with him. Keep going. Jordan has made, and Katie Page is very much involved in what's going on right now in terms of disclosure. Roberto Panatti, the great Italian Peter Roberts. I think people know these gentlemen. The legendary Don Schmidt, still doing his thing. Let's see. Michael Schratt has made tremendous contributions. Continue. Of course, Yvonne Smith, one of the great researchers and support people to contact these. She deserves so much recognition. A lot of these are podcasters, by the way. There's got a lot more coming. Alan Steinfeld, everybody knows. Willie Strieber, I think, is well known to most people. Paul Stonehill, the leading in Russian and research in Europe and so forth. Serena, everybody loves Serena. Let's see, keep going. Les Velez, obviously, Opus.
Yeah.
A tremendous amount of work there. John Venter, working out of Pennsylvania, held a conference every year. Victor, the Canadian activist, God bless him, he's never going to give up. We're going to go down together. Travis Walton, I think, is most familiar to people. Ryan Wood is going to be presenting at the Contact in the Desert. He and his father Bob basically made after, along with Stan Friedman, the MJ12 documents, a very significant thing. So this is, again, where the Hollywood Disclosure Alliance is now. Now, let me just say this: anybody out there, particularly if you're in a Hollywood person, and particularly if you've made some movies with ETs in them that have made, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 million net after expenses, and you thought it might be kind of cool to maybe drop 50,000 into this organization, picking a reasonable number. You get a nice tax deduction, and we can really start doing things, more events and things. Again, more networking things, higher quality. If you really want to get us going, we get 3 people together and drop 50 each. And because our purpose is righteous, we're not trying to make money, right? We're not getting paid. Dan and I are in it for some money, right? That neither one of us can just throw around. But with some funding, we can actually do events and make we'll get more members. We'll have a better chance to promote sponsors and things like that, and become maybe a significant entity in the post-disclosure world. There are no guarantees, but a very good effort has been made here, and I think it's righteous, and hopefully it will be rewarded.
How, if you had some fairy dust to sprinkle around, what do you think is the secret formula to getting a documentary into theatrical distribution?
Well, I happen to think that that's about to happen, though it's still hanging. But there is, among the many things that have been turning up, something just came up that was put together over a period of 3 years with a lot of money. I'm going to guess 3, 4, 5 million. I could be wrong. It has highest level production. It has the top people you can get because it had the gravitas and it had a Hollywood producer with a substantial career behind it. Exactly the thing that, that I was talking about that's happening. There's going to be more of it. And I'm referring to The Age of Disclosure. Love the title. Directed and produced by Dan Hara. He has been involved in some big movies. Check out his IMDb.
It's Dan. You mean Dan Farah?
I am very sorry. I mean
That's
Dan
okay.
Farah. I apologize.
That's okay.
I know the name, but it's I'm old. Did I mention that I was very old? And so
no, but you did mention you need reading glasses. But staying on this, the announcement of the film, and I think it premiered at South by Southwest.
It did.
Yeah, and so with the publicity that was behind that, and to get into that, a lot of buzz, and then kind of some bad reviews came out. And if you're gonna hype, I'm talking about mainstream reviews, not reviews from this community. I haven't seen the film. But
what do you mean by mainstream? Describe a mainstream review.
Variety, that type of stuff. Real film critics are at South by Southwest that viewed that and critiqued the film. So, but my point being, the buzz just went away, and that's very unfortunate. That's very unfortunate. Yeah.
Let me give you a different angle on this. Okay.
Oh yeah, there's all kinds of angles, Steve. Sure.
I know, and I'm going to give you another one.
Yeah, give me yours. Yeah.
First of all, by and large, if you took all the critics, film critics now, I'm not, and I love film critics. I mean, they do give you a sense of what good films are and whatever, and you make choices. I get it. But the point is, this is a special situation. You take all the film critics in the country and put it together, they probably know 0.1% of Richard Dolan knows about this issue. Okay, they don't squat. And so they're seeing this, and all that stigma and crap is kind of back there. They've been walking through it their whole life, and then they're not getting it. What's going on? So I don't really care what a standard critic thinks of this film. And then there's another problem. The people in the community, it's always been this way. Something else comes out, right? And they're going, this is it. This is going to really push the ball forward. And it's going to do this and that and everything else. It's going to have witnesses or stuff we never heard of. They're going to have real live ETs, whatever the hell. And then what they get is a very well produced information coming from high level people put together in a way that gets the story across. But they already know the story, and they're going,
They've already seen these talking heads dozens of times.
Well, but a film succeeds not on the basis of a limited number of researchers that are already familiar with it. There's 300 million people in this country. There's 8 billion people in the world. The interest in this subject is worldwide. It polls 40% worldwide, which means about 4 billion people think there's something up there that's real. And so the idea is, the film has got to break new ground for the people that are experts. No, it needs to be a good rendition of this issue. And if it's given the right distribution, there are millions of people that don't know about it and will want to see it. See, these are the kinds of
okay. This is where, and by the way, everybody, I just want you to know, Stephen and I are really good friends.
Oh, yeah.
And we have very spirited discussions all the time.
Yeah, but usually you've given me dinner. You're barbecuing something.
That's true. That's true. I'm not buying my way to your heart tonight.
I do expect another barbecue.
Yeah, it's coming your way. But it's this.
Yeah.
Chariots of the Gods. All right?
That got distribution on the film.
Wait. Slow down, Steve.
Mm-hmm.
Chariots of the Gods. Huge film. Wildly successful. Why? I'll tell you why. 0 talking heads. evidence, things that the public can understand. They can see an image, they can see a photograph, they can see a video, and then hear the narrator walk them through the story and paint the theatrics of the mind for them so they could go and explore. A film of a bunch of political talking heads, ex-Washington, D.C., or whatever, one after another on the screen, the public could give a shit about. They're not going to sit 300 million people in this country. You know what? 300 million people don't care. They're not going to sit through that. If it was presented with evidence and videos and documentation and things that they can paint the theater of the mind and be entertained and educated at the same time, then you have a full theatrical release. But a film that should be shown in junior high school in history class is not going to make a bunch of money on the big screen. And there isn't, it will never pass a focus group. Can you imagine showing that to a focus group? Okay, what did you guys think? Oh, God. Oh, I barely made it through that. But show them Chariots of the Gods.
Chariots of the Gods came out in 1986.
No, 1971.
I mean, 1971. You're right. 54 years ago. And the subject in this general area of the potential connection of ETs in the past, in this case, was new and fantastic and early. And because it wasn't about UFOs, basically, it was safe and it was okay and it did well. And I'm glad it did well. And it got theatrical distribution. So you're telling me in the 54 years since Chariot of the Gods, not a single documentary made on this subject deserved to be put up on the big screen. Every single one of them was just shit.
No, you're saying that. I'm not.
No, I'm saying that's what happened. Not a single doc since that has ever gone on the big screens. So is that because everyone since then in 54 years was just really not very good?
Well, you know, I am saying that when I asked you earlier, and I want the audience to really understand the question. When I asked you earlier, what's the fairy dust? What would you do? Right? Well, if you asked me that same question, I would say, man, get the production value up, show people things that are interesting, have great narration, walk you through that, entertain and educate at the same time. You know, and that's what you need. That's what you want. That's the success of things like Ancient Aliens. There's a reason why that just knocks it out of the park, because it's education with the visuals.
It is interesting speculations about the ancient past, which everybody's intrigued in. They're not limited by hard, narrow guide rails. They can kind of go everywhere they want. Ancient astronaut theorists think, or and so it's great. I love it. We're talking about trying to create content about an issue that's been undermined and embargoed for 80 years. It's had a massive impact on our society, and so the very implications of it alone should get it on that screen. You see, Jimmy, over the last you're absolutely right about the message and what needs to be conveyed. But how do you keep people's attention long enough for them to sit through a movie at a theater and spend what, for 4 people, $200 on the night, to go out and do this? Well, you know what? You want them to walk out of there going, shit, that was the most amazing thing I ever saw. $200? I just went to the movie the other day. It cost me $10.
Yeah, but you got an AARP card. But you have to think about the family of 4 that's buying 4 buckets of popcorn at $20 a pop.
All right, so now we're talking about popcorn. Let me try to simplify it as best I can. Look, Jimmy, look. You cannot possibly judge this movie the way it needs to be judged, and here's why. You have been interviewing people on this subject for how many years? 20?
15, 20, yeah.
15, 20. you have read books, you have seen docs. Your brain is just packed with this stuff. And so you walk into the theater and you're like, man, I could have produced that. I could have done that, right? Whatever. The vast majority of people have no knowledge of this at all. And when they're seeing people of this high level and accomplishments,
you're making the best point.
Yeah.
If you're going to deliver that to somebody that doesn't have any idea about it, you're not going to do it with an education of a string of talking heads. No. You need to have a puppy on a turtle's back walking around carrying a little gray alien, and that is what the public is. The public is not you, Steve.
Look, I know the public is basically into watching dog rescue videos.
Yeah, I know.
I get that.
Okay. but my point being, addressing what you just said head on, all right, to somebody that knows nothing about the subject, the last thing that you want to do to help this along is give them a video of a movie of a string of talking heads talking about a subject that they know nothing about.
Well,
that's not gonna no, it's just simply not going to work. It's not going to work. And that I just told you, Chariots of the Gods knocked it out of the park.
Again,
there was no talking heads in that.
It's like apples and oranges. I just cannot compare them. Now we have our people in
you can compare them. We're talking about mass audience.
Yeah.
How do you get to the mass audience? You don't do it with a history talking head movie. It's just not going to get it done. You could, this is my take, again, my fairy dust. If you took the words of the talking heads in said film I have not seen, but I already know what's in it. You take the words and turn that into narration and couple that with graphics and things and same information. Nobody gives a shit if it's Chris Mellon. Nobody cares. Right? But the words are what's important. So you have the words narrated, presented with something that keeps people's attention, and you educate them. Then you knock it out of the park. Yeah.
How many million do you think it'll take to do it?
To do that?
Yeah.
I don't know. How much does Peter Coyote cost to narrate?
Well, he has narrated some docs made by our friends.
Yeah, James Fox.
But they went through holy hell for years to be able to get the money to be able to do it. Sacrificed,
right.
Nearly went bankrupt. Okay.
The most of the cost is in editing. So it could be done fairly reasonably well. I mean, low. You're not talking about $10 million. $5 million. No, it wouldn't cost that at all.
Well,
so that's my take. That's what I would do. And you would start to achieve those mass numbers that I would love to see achieved.
Let's just say that Hollywood has had all the money to do all of that anytime it wanted to and didn't do it. Period.
I know.
Didn't do it.
Period. You and I have talked about this so many times. I couldn't agree more.
And the reason is not because they don't know there's something going on here, but because they didn't want to upset the government. And so this film, which is put together by a very high-end Hollywood person with adequate funding and so forth, using pretty good production values, maybe it's not laid out in a way that grabs people's attention, but it is a marker. It is a milestone. It is a message to us that this thing is getting real. And these people that went on there, these talking heads, or any talking heads, these are individuals who have put their legacies and careers or post-careers at risk. They're American heroes. And they've been in some docs. They've turned up here and they've turned up there. But by bringing them together to create the power of the issue, because this isn't just about what's a good movie and what's not a good movie. This is about, is the world going to be told that they're not alone or not? right? And so the idea that we have to finally break that barrier, tell them they're not alone, but it's got to be an unbelievable film like The Wizard of Oz, going to get Oscars and everything. That's what's been keeping us back all these years.
Well, you're right. And
the government says you have to do the impossible, and you have to do it with nothing. You have to make bricks without straw. And then if you do make them without straw, they say we don't like these bricks. And so I just don't play their game anymore, Jimmy. I'm saying Farrah has made a breakthrough film.
You have to play the game. You have to play the game. This is Hollywood.
But if the game is like hide the ball and don't stand up for what's right, if the aim is screwing over the people that are really trying to do this work, right?
Absolutely.
Because they don't have an IMDb page, that is the game I want to play.
But that's not the point. The point that I'm making to you is you are asking for big screen theatrical release of a documentary.
Yeah,
okay.
Sure.
To get to that, you have got to, after the film, let's say it gets greenlit and it gets made. The only way that moves forward is test screenings with focus groups. And you are going to bet the farm on a documentary like that with a focus group. It's never going to get to the big screen. Not with talking heads. It's not going to happen.
Look, they're not going to spend.
They're not going to put 30, 40, $50 million investment into something with no return. That's what it costs for just
40, 50
how
million
much does it cost? How much does it cost to put a film in a theater for a week? One screen times 1,500. That's what you're asking. And so it's a lot of bread, dude.
You and I are actually looking at this industry through completely different eyes. All right. We're talking about.
How do you think it's done? How do you think it's done?
Well, here's that done. You got a film. Okay. It's a rom-com and you spend $70 million on it. All right. And you got a lot invested, and that damn thing has got to do incredibly well. So you have to spend huge amounts of money advertising the hell out of it, right? Which even raises it even more cost. And so if it doesn't connect with the focus group or whatever, then you could lose a lot of money. I get it. And they do. There's a movie went out there. I think it's going to lose $300 million. All right. Now you talk about documentaries that cost $3 or $4 or $5 million to make. And
so how do you propose? This is the thing. You want it done. How do you get that into theatrical release? What's the plan?
Well, you take it. You run it in some film festivals. You get a take on how it's going to go, right? And then if you can make a case, then you try to sell it to a distributor or to a streamer, studio, whatever. Okay. And when it comes to something like that, ultimately, it's about will it make money or not make money, not whether it's going to win an Oscar or not. And so if you're trying to sell a $40 or $50 million movie to Netflix or Sony or anything else, let me tell you, you better have one hell of a pitch deck. And so you may say, well, where is the pitch deck on this movie? Okay, it's not in the spectacular this and that and everything else. It's a relatively inexpensive film by Hollywood standards that is addressing a subject that's been suppressed, that is happening literally as we are speaking, that's going to change the world forever. I don't think, sleeping in Seattle is going to change the world forever. It did make money, though. And so they lose money all the time. And so the idea that they have a chance to put something this important up the big screens and give it the gravitas, and that they might lose a few $1 million. So we can't do it when they're going to lose, I think, $200 and some million on this film that just came out. What is it called? Oh, it's absolutely disastrous. I mean, one of the biggest ever. So it's like, well, we can't do that. No, we can't do it. No, it's not about that. They don't want to do it because they don't want to poke the United States government, but that's starting to change. And so any documentary on this subject that gets out on the big screens for regular Joe and Mary and their kids and their $400 for the popcorn, it's going to get watched because the word's going to get around that, wait a minute. I just saw this film, and very high-level people are saying, we're not alone. We have crashed vehicles. People that have worked in the DIA and the Senate and everything else, we're not alone. ETs are real. And the word starts to spread through social media. It doesn't cost you a damn dime, right? If you've got the right kind of film, it goes viral. You're not going to spend money on it. And so word of mouth, the next thing you know, it makes a couple of million. right? And it's like, wow, well, it only made a couple of million. That's just so awful. No, what you're missing here, Jimmy, is it's not just a film. It's part of a unbelievably profound process underway that's been suppressed, that's coming out. And this really provides very key information from powerful people in relatively good production value, and is going to raise awareness. It's about the real world. The Chariots of the Gods was interesting. It may ultimately prove that not a single damn thing, and it was true, but it was interesting. Same thing with ancient aliens.
What?
It may be true. It may not be true.
What?
Okay.
When you're talking Chariots of the Gods changed the world.
I didn't say it didn't change the world.
Changed
I said
the world.
It may or may not be true. When you're talking about
may or may not
stuff,
be true. Steve,
you're talking about.
Steve, I love it. I got to put my shoe on. Hold on for a second. The doo-doo's getting deep in here. I had to put shoes on. Steve, I love it when you get fired up and your adrenaline takes over.
But my heart is taking the beating here.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, that's true.
But I'm here to center you again and get things straightened out. So here's the thing. Chariots of the Gods, because of the ideas presented about ET being here in ancient times and throughout history and influencing things, and that it was there in plain sight. It wasn't just ancient Egypt, Renaissance paintings, modern day stuff, modern day things, film clips of different UFO sightings that were modern. Okay, it wasn't just 2, 3, 4, 5,000 years old, but the idea was there. People have always been interested in this, and it was done in such an effective way that people got it on a mass scale. So my point is, that's your formula. And we've seen it over and over again. I don't want to see a film that's really good. James Fox has made some of the best films on the subject for our community, and he's made a string of them. Should they have been on the big screen? Yes. Yeah, the Phenomenon was supposed to do that, but COVID hit.
And why do you think they didn't get on the big screen?
Well, he had the deal set for the Phenomenon, but COVID
he had a shot at getting the first big stream distribution, and he
signed the deal. The deal was done.
I know.
But COVID hit. Yeah.
But COVID took it away, and that is a tragedy for James. But he's made other films, and I know the hell he went through to do it. But fundamentally, right? The reason that James Fox had a shot is that a film was good, but it's also the case that this issue is coming due. Look, you want to make movies about ancient aliens from 15,000 years ago? Hey, great, do it. Okay, they don't care. Government doesn't give a damn.
No,
they're ancient. They're gone.
But
if you're going to make a film about ETs here now, oh boy. Well, now special concerns. You're going to have incredible this and incredible that. And anyway, we're not going to put it up anyway, right?
Well, see, let me say this: the reason why James Fox's films have been so successful is he shows the process of an investigation and going out and visiting and showing and presenting evidence and how that gets done in an investigation. And he's got to act 1, act 2, act 3. He approaches it as a filmmaker, and that's that. What he's the opposite of a string of talking heads with nothing else there. I did see, here's one other point. We have to, and I don't know how, I don't have the answers, but we have to get new video evidence and new documents and things that could be presented in these documentaries like they have in the past. We don't have any fresh material. How many times can we show the friggin' gimbal video? How many times? How many times?
You're killing me, man. You're just killing me here.
I'm right.
No,
I'm right.
No, you're not right. You're so far out in left field, you can't even see the batter. Look, you are a guy that runs. You have a very successful show. You interview a lot of people. You work like crazy, right? You work intensely. You're doing things. Okay, you're not in a position to keep up with what is going on at the front of this business and situation. And that's not a criticism. How could you possibly? That's all I do. When you say we don't have evidence, first of all, we've got members of Congress going in front of cameras and saying there's crashed vehicles with
That's
ETs
not
here.
evidence. That's not
That
evidence.
isn't evidence?
No.
Are you kidding?
No. What have they presented? That's just first person conversation. All right.
yeah.
So what is and
Whoa, whoa,
second
whoa,
person?
whoa. Are you aware of how many briefings have taken place on the Hill? Do you realize how many private classified briefings have taken place on the Hill with witnesses directly talking to these people? So when they
Witnesses.
come out and say there's ETs
Right.
here, it's not because they just woke up one morning and had a thought. They're reflecting what, without having to break any of the rules or classification status, what they're learning inside. What is going on in DC inside this issue
Yeah, I
is
love
bigger
that.
by a factor of 1,000 for anything in our previous era, Jimmy.
I
And
love that.
all I can do is tell people what's going on, and they go, well, I need to see an ET craft. Give me something. Give me a latrine
Yes.
from a
Yes.
UFO.
Yes. Oh,
No.
wait.
It doesn't
So
work
you're
that way.
saying that a jury of our peers that is good enough? No.
Well, it's not the
it's not.
only thing. Okay. It's not one member of a Congress. We've got many. We've got witnesses with classifications coming forward and confirming firsthand USAPs. I mean, we've got legislation being passed.
Right.
We've got a task force that's being put together. We've
Yep.
got senators, the most powerful people in the country, that have made it clear that it's true. And so, okay, the
No,
reason
no,
we
no,
haven't
no, no,
got
no,
the
no,
hard
no,
stuff.
no. Steve, don't mislead. We have elected officials, we have senators, Congress people that are interested in the subject and are asking the right questions. But there's no evidence being presented. That's a big difference. I'm so happy David Grush did what he did. I'm so glad Tim Burchett is up there
Yeah.
asking those questions, very direct, and crash retrievals and biologics, and fantastic. But there's no evidence.
Where do
It's
you
questions.
where do you think all the evidence is, Jimmy?
You tell me.
It's in the
You
hands
tell
of the
me.
United States government.
Well, okay, so here we are. It's a catch-22.
It is.
So
That's why the truth embargo is still going on 78 years after Roswell.
But to the point, having people ask questions correctly, by the way, it's been amazing, is not evidence. So that's
David
what we
Grush's
need.
testimony was evidence.
It was
Absolutely.
sworn testimony that he was told things, yes.
Yes,
And
but
shown
we
things.
all again.
But
Jimmy,
he never, no, David Grush never walked into a hangar and walked into a flying saucer and sat down. He was
Okay, Jimmy,
told that these exist, and I love
Jimmy,
that.
you
Are you going to tell me David Grush?
I am the disclosure activist, right? 30 years on. You are the incredibly successful radio host. Listen to me, okay?
David Grush
listen
touched
to
a
me.
flying saucer.
David Grush came forward with testimony from inside individuals in
Right.
USAP programs. He was then threatened and harassed. As a result, he had to go to the Inspector General. The Inspector General staff went and talked to those firsthand people. They went and talked to them because they had the clearance to do so. And now those firsthand people are telling the Inspector General of the intelligence community what's going on. Now they have that information. And because they confirmed the information that he got from the firsthand guys was legitimate, they basically said, we're going to protect you and you are going to get some relief. And that's not just them. Some of the staff on the Senate Intel Committee got this information. And so there's a whole lot of people up there that have firsthand information from USAP people. How many of those people do you have to have before you begin to go, looks like there's something going on here?
Obviously, Tim Burchett, the members of these committees, the Senate Intelligence Committee are interested in what they are finding out. I'm not
Yeah.
questioning any of that, but you just said it firsthand, secondhand. That's
No.
different than evidence.
So, in other words,
What the IG was handled. Look, for the public, seeing this, I love it. To have these statements made under oath on live television is extraordinary. All right.
okay,
But
good.
what for the public, when you're making a documentary, presenting it with talking heads and this kind of information, it's not going to resonate. You need to educate them in a different way if you want this on the big screen. I would
Well,
love for something to take off and just boom and make it to the Oscars for a nomination for the best
don't want a
documentary film.
nomination, Jimmy. Want it
I
on that
do.
big screen. Okay.
I do.
It
I
can't
do.
lose money. And again, it's not just any documentary. No disrespect to James Fox. Believe me, he's a hero. He should get some awards. This film was produced by a very substantial Hollywood producer. He helped produce Ready Player One. Go look at his IMDb page. He's not Spielberg, but I assure you, he's high end. And by doing that, by putting his name on that film, he's saying this is very important. You need to watch this. And that is another reason why it should get on the big screen, because again, it's not, in other words, the truth embargo is not going to end because the truth is delivered in some really cool, fancy, very clever way that gets everybody all excited. Like they get excited about some cool film or like Severance or whatever the hell, some streaming series. It's going to be done because the actual truth is going to be presented at a level with gravitas that people are going, I need to listen to this. Okay. And say, oh, yeah, I didn't like the graphics, so I think I'll just leave it at the air. No, they've got somebody that's worked at the CIA and the DIA saying, we are not alone. And they're going, maybe we're not alone. And by the way,
the public doesn't give a shit.
They do.
They
care.
don't. No, they care about ET. They don't care about a string of talking heads, Steve.
They care about they care about finally getting the truth about what is going on with respect to this phenomena and our relationship. And if it comes by talking heads, they are going to damn well appreciate it, and they will attend that film.
Force it down their throats. Look, we will see if this film, filmed in secret, right, and it's all revealing of all of this. If it's all of that, and the public is interested, then it's going to resonate, and it'll be off to the races. Or it's not going to resonate, and the public on a mass scale is not going to grab onto it. It's my idea. It's my belief. You have the same information, but you present it to them in a way that you can educate, and you can learn, and you can keep their attention for 2 hours.
All I can say,
that's my point. That's my point.
The government has been able to get away from the truth embargo for all these decades by setting a bar that we can't trump. And if we actually figure out how to get over it, they just raise the bar or they move the finish line back. They've been fucking with us like that for 80 years. I don't want to contribute to that. I don't want to be saying, look, we're going to get this out, but it's got to go this way. It's got to be this bar. We don't have any money. We don't have the support. We're just coming out of the age of disdain and stigma and everything else. I want, in other words, I don't want to play the game of the truth embargo managers, meaning, look, you can have the truth, but you got to just come at it this way. You got to do this thing and whatever. And then we'll do that. And they'll go, I don't think so. So all I'm saying is this. We'll see how well the film does. It will do okay. If it only gets on a streaming platform, I assure you, it will make some money. Dan Farah is not going to lose any money on this movie. If it makes it to the big screen and only makes a couple of million, if it gets seen by maybe 500,000 to 1 million people, it will have impact. But it's a marker. It is a marker. It's telling everybody in the industry, Dan Farah did this. He took this risk. He understands this is real. And that's important. That's going to have impact. It's win, 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 win. Okay.
Well, yeah. So, and back to your point, and I can't agree with you more. Big screen release is the goal. Okay. And streaming, like you just mentioned, anybody can do that. Anybody can
Absolutely.
distribute. You can sign up online, upload your film, and do a streaming deal and get it. But anybody can do it. When I say anybody
Sure,
can do it.
I get that. That's why
But
when
you said
stream
that the
something-
goal. You said that the goal was the big screen. And I'm saying
not-
that Talking Heads is not going to get on the big screen. It's just not.
we will find out. It's going to be up to Dan Farrow what he does. He can probably get a relatively quick deal for streaming, make some money, walk away. But I have a feeling that he's aiming higher than that. He wants to have a film that's going to make a difference. Okay, and let me point out the list of absolute shit films that have been given, theatrical distribution, right, that somehow got by the focus groups, whatever the hell they are, is a very long list. And I've suffered through some of them. And so the idea that, wow, that just can't happen, a film that really shouldn't be on the big screen loses money, happens all the time. And so let it happen to a documentary with some of the heroes in this field trying to tell the truth to the entire world on a big screen. If it's only 1,000, I'll take it. It's a marker. And then if Hollywood decides, hey, let's start giving millions of dollars to the experts in this field, like James Fox and Dolan and everything else, let's get them in, let them consult. Let's produce some even more and great content. But right now we got squawked, nothing. And so I'm saying, let's get a film up there and let's don't make it an impossible bar to jump over. So I totally back Dan Farrow. I think he's made a major event here. Maybe it's not as cool or as it needs to be, but it was crisp and to the point. It's not ambiguous at all. And the people involved are the very players that are going on. It's like making a documentary about the Civil War while the Civil War is going on. And you got the generals in, you got the Union generals.
Right. Hey, you've seen the film, right?
Which film?
Dan Farrow's new film, Disclosure.
I've only seen parts of it. I haven't seen the whole thing.
Okay, so
and it doesn't matter. It does not matter, Jim. Right? I know what happened in that film. If I see it, what difference is it going to make? Am I going to say, yeah, it was a bunch of talking heads? I already know it's a bunch of talking heads. I already know they had good cameras and they had production values, right? And it didn't take forever to make. So whatever. The point is that it's not going to change, right? I already know the importance of this film without seeing 1 second of it, but I have seen some of it, right? I know the people in that film. I know how important they are. I know the sacrifices they have made. And by the way, I went and watched Fahrenheit 9/11. All right. Now, look, Michael Moore is a funny guy and he's kind of cool, right? And he made this film. A lot of people thought it was a total piece of crap. But the reason it made nearly $400 million in today's dollars is because it was about something very important to people. And what was that something? The election or the non-election of George W. Bush. That film was made to stop him from winning a second term. And people were lined up to go see it because they wanted to see what it will do. How could it affect it? Could it cause him to lose the election because they wanted him to lose? You had young people going down the lines of the people waiting outside the theater to go in, signing them up to vote. Right. And the guy would say, why do you want me? Because, we don't want George to win. It was about something important to them. And it made $400 million. Go watch that film and tell me that Fahrenheit 9/11 was a masterpiece of cinema. It wasn't. It was him making some jokes and having a good time. And he is entertaining. But as other films didn't do so well.
Yeah. Point taken.
Thank you.
But he's also a filmmaker. And people agreeing or disagreeing with the film is what it was about. And people were entertained by that film. And all of his films, all of his films, he's got a way of being a storyteller in a masterful way.
He is a storyteller.
I haven't agreed with anything that Michael Moore has put his position into, but that doesn't matter. The film, to me, is the film entertaining? Did I watch them all? Yeah, I did.
It's the highest grossing doc of all time.
Did I get angry? Well, so Will the UFO subject have the same impact, where you have the same discussions being made around the film, the pros and cons of it, and spirited debate with the population and media and everything else. That can we do that with the UFO documentary? I would say yes, if you have a good storyteller behind it. There, you brought up J.J. Abrams. It doesn't get bigger than that name. Showtime doesn't get bigger, right?
Yeah.
There's an opportunity there where you have the platform, you have the name, you have the production company, Bad Robot, you just mentioned it. Everything is in place. Not good storytelling. Not good storytelling. And JJ didn't direct it. You know, it's just his production company. He was executive producer.
He put his name behind it. And yeah, it's
but,
not good. Well, you know, I think you should, you get a chance, you can see him at a party, and you got to go up to him and say, JJ, look, I don't think that Showtime series is all that good. You know, it's just kind of the same.
Oh, I wrote him an email that I got a reply from. Yeah, really? I did. I certainly did. But anyway, can we do it? And I would say yes, with the right storyteller, and everything else. Could it be done? Absolutely, it could be done. But you're not going to do it with talking heads. It's just
this film was made to facilitate disclosure happening.
You, Stephen, you're going to watch a string of talking heads like I do. I love talking heads, man. I love history. I love documentaries. I love nonfiction books. I got stacks of them. Man, I read books on physics like I'm reading Charlie Brown. Man, I just pound those pages. I love it. All right? So that documentary, I will sit and watch it from beginning to end. Will my mom? Hell no. Oh, my God. My brothers? People that are outside of this, no, it would be torture. You've got to do it another way, and it can be done if it's done effectively.
I'm quite happy with it. The timing is perfect. The people involved needed that exposure. It's going to make a difference, even if it doesn't get in the big screen. It will still make a difference because it's beyond encounters. It's beyond show the UFO, so forth. It's the right film at the right time, and its flaws are overcome by the importance of the issue itself and the huge interest in the subject. And because it'll be the first documentary, if it gets on the big screen, to get on the big screen about this, that alone is very marketable. It just never happened before. This is special. You need to come and see what these people have to say. Okay, they're not going to sing an opera. They're not going to act it out or do improv theater. Just going to tell you the truth, right? That you've been trying to get for years. So I think it can be marketed with minimal money, reasonable money, and make money. But again, odds are no, right? That they'll find a reason, I suppose. Now we can't do that. Right? We can't piss off the government because we still want to make more alien movies that will do $1 billion, $1.5 billion, $2 billion. What did Avatar going to do? This next Avatar is basically an alien movie. It's probably going to do $2.5 billion. Great. But see, that's not helping us, right? The fact that people in this town can make billions of dollars is great. I think they live well. But the world is going to hell in a handbasket because it is being denied the fundamental truths about the world that it's in while the wheels are falling off our society. There is a lot at stake here that transcends the way a film is made. The fact is they made a film that tells the truth, that tells it in a powerful way. It may not be cinematically wonderful, but its timing is perfect and it needs to get on the big screen. And so I'm backing it. I will stand out in front of the theater and beg people to come in because it's not just about art or cinema. It's about truth and it's about the real world that we're in and what is happening in our world right now. And films are famous in various ways to significantly impacting dramatic events of our time, where a film gets done at a key point that actually changes how people are dealing with something. Some of the films that have helped the civil rights movement and so forth probably wouldn't have passed a lot of critics' level of importance, not get too many good ratings. So it's more than just a film. It is a statement to the world that this subject deserves to be on the big screen. Not when we can come up with some unbelievable score, score, whatever, and it's got to be perfect. No, it deserves to be up on the big screen. Now is the time for it to happen. And so I want people to support that, right? And those that are seeing the movie that know so much about the issue and are saying, where's the new stuff? Please. Right? Put yourself in the mind of somebody out there that is a contactee that can't even talk about it. There's probably a million of them, right? They probably go see the film. People that know this truth, they come out and they're very frustrated, but they don't understand the truth embargo. They don't understand how it's lasted this long. So put yourself in their head and say, do you think they might like to go and see what these people have to say? You can't do it, Jimmy. Your head is stuffed with this stuff. So is mine. But then as an activist, I see the activist power here. In other words, films are not just about entertainment. They can be changing. And the idea that the film has to be a blockbuster in order to change is just not the case. There have been films that have had big differences that weren't magnificent, but they were the right film at the right time. And so I can't go there with you, Jim. It's asking too much.
What can't you go with me on?
In other words, I can't go with these other requirements that you feel have to be there. It has to be
like
this
what?
Level,
like what did I say that was wrong?
Well, you're saying that it doesn't have enough of the style and the narrative and everything else that makes it compelling, so that people are going to want to go see it because it's very compelling.
No, I want people to stay awake for 2 hours. That's my point. That's my point. And if you take a bell curve, right? You take a bell curve and you just grab that middle part, not the biggest, not the smallest. You just grab the middle part. That's who you want to stay awake for 2 hours. That's what I want. And I'm telling you, you take that many people and you put them in the theater and you have them watch somebody talk, a string of talking heads for 2 hours, and they walk out. So what did you learn? Nothing. I don't remember a damn thing.
Really?
And it doesn't matter who is up there. I am not wrong.
We're going to have to agree to disagree, and time will show us. The film will go somewhere, and we'll get a sense of the impact it's having. Okay, not what people say as they walk out of the theater, but what is the impact of the film happening, taking place, and getting out there? Obviously, it has
impact to the public. The impact to you and to me.
No, the public.
It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. And remember, Hollywood Disclosure Alliance, your own words, my own words. We are talking about the global entertainment industry.
Yeah. 3
key words. Mm-hmm. Global entertainment industry. Mm-hmm. Okay. You have to meet all of that criteria, and you can't, just because the string of talking heads is revealing the reality of Jesus and the impact of the greatest historical moment in mankind's history forever. But if it's delivered wrong, nobody's going to give a shit.
Nobody?
No. I'm saying no. But you don't count. I don't count. You want global entertainment industry, right? Those 3 things. And it's very important, Stephen. I want nobody aside from you. I don't think anybody out there wants this more than I do. I've dedicated my life to this. I have done 3,000 shows, not 200 interviews, not 300 interviews, not a TV. No, I've done 3,000 shows.
Easy.
I've done a couple of dozen films.
I know.
I've done how many TV series? I've got a TV show now on the air. Mm-hmm. I work 7 days a week, 20 hours a day at this. So my passion and my commitment to this, I don't think anybody can match that.
No, you got
nobody can. So I'm telling you, if we're going to do this, we've got to do it the right way to extend out past our community, past you, and that's it. And the global entertainment industry, I love that. So how do you meet all of that? Where you can sit back and have all of those money people sit around that table, the marketing, the editing, the production, green light staff, catering, I don't care, where they all go, this is going to kick ass. We've put the right project together, right? And that's how you get it out, right? So there's a way to do it. It's just not with talking heads. It's not at that scale. Not at that scale. And I will put my weight behind. I put my weight behind anything that is moving things forward. I do it all the time. You know this, man.
Do you think it'll set us back? You think it's going to set the issue back?
No.
Okay.
It's another chip on the table, is what it is. And we've got a lot of those chips. We've got a lot. And so let's keep them stacking up. But to break into the mainstream, where you have 100 million people worldwide pay for it in a theater, international release, yeah.
If 100 million people saw the film, it would make scores. It would make probably $200 million. I'm not talking about.
That's what I want. Well, what do you want when you say 1,500 screens? Okay, let me. Okay,
that's a medium distribution.
That's a national distribution.
Well, national,
James Fox's film, The Phenomenon, had a 700 screen release. Just so you know.
Whoa! That's not new. That's new to me. I didn't know that. Explain. How did it have a 700 screen release?
Yeah. Read the press release.
Really?
Okay. So 1,500 screens. Check this out. 1,500 screens times 3 a day times. Okay. So 1,500 screens 3 times a day, 7 days a week. All right. Sold out.
Yeah.
It's 135,000 viewings. Let me put this up to the right camera. That's 135,000. Now, let's say you did theater sold out, medium, large is 500, small is 100. So we'll go 250 people per screening.
That's a lot.
That's 27 million people on 1,500 screens. All right. Now let's go. It's $500 million at $20 a ticket.
Yeah.
That's what you're asking for. And so to do all of that, you've got to keep people in the seats. You've got to keep their interest and everything else. And there's got to be production value there. Would I love to see that happen? Oh man, that'd be wonderful.
But if you're talking about a film that only costs $4 or $5 million, and
then you're really profiting.
You don't need to make that much.
$580 million. Happens all the time. There are films out there that do that with a $5 million budget. Sure, it's great when it happens.
I need to back up here, Jim, because I don't know how I don't know this, but I don't know everything. When did James's film get 600 screens? Do you recall?
He signed the deal, did the press release.
Yeah.
In 2020, and then COVID hit.
Right.
Press releases went out on Variety, everything else. James made the announcement, talked about it on this show.
Oh, so he was set to get 700 screens, but that didn't happen because COVID canceled the deal, right?
COVID didn't cancel it. Theaters closing down. And
Okay. So he did not actually show it on 700. Okay, that's fine.
No.
So again, I don't, theatrical distribution, big screen is, you get up even 500, 600, 700. That satisfies, I think, that line. It's crossed that line. What doesn't cross that line is when you rent 4 or 5 theaters, or 2 or 3 theaters to show it. We know that they do that. That's not a distributed film. And so 600-700 theaters, even if there's only an average of 50 people in it, that crosses the bar. That gets over the bar. Our doc on this subject has had big screen distribution and didn't completely tank. Then that opens the door for more people to possibly get the funding to do better and do more, which I think is coming. Now, if you get disclosure, and the world is finally, this is confirmed worldwide, there will be the best talent out there with tons of money is going to want to do the most amazing movies. Many of them will be narratives. There's so many stories to tell, and they're going to make them all. There's scripts out there about Hynek, about James McDonald, and so forth. Many of them that are out there that will probably get made with big stars and a lot of money. Love it. All right. But again, we have to fight for every rung on the ladder. And this is an opportunity to clear a rung. So I really have to support it, and I don't want to discourage people to go to it. But the other thing that keep in mind is that there's never been a theatrical distribution of this subject, and the polling on this subject is extraordinary. The Ipsos poll of about 8 years ago, where they polled the entire world using, I think, something like 66 countries as representative, came in with a number that 20% of the world's people think they're already walking amongst us. Okay. The polls in the United States continue to go up. 50% now are not about it's real, but 50% now believe it's not us. It's not human. And then another 20%, I think, also, say it's not real, though 20% are not sure it's non-human yet. These are huge numbers. And so the awareness of this subject is global, but the truth still remains retracted. And so now suddenly that truth turns up on big screens at their theater, and you got all these millions of people that really know it's true, but they can never get it confirmed by the government. The idea that they might want to go to that film and see what they got to say, and that all of them are just going to fall asleep. I don't think so. I think they'll sit through it and they'll listen.
If it's we're kicking a dead horse. If it's presented the right way, I already told you, telling you right now how you do it. You take the words, transcribe it, narrate it, and then present it in an entertaining way, not with a string of talking heads. Okay. Same information, Stephen. Same information.
I understand.
Not a period changed.
I would suggest that if this can get even a reasonable distribution, it's going to make it a lot easier for someone to get the money together and the talent to create the film that you're talking about. So, it's a step in the right direction. It's a little harder to go from just what we've been able to do, which is, James Fox and so forth, and then jump to that level. Now, again, disclosure changes everything, so we'll put that aside. But disclosure hasn't happened yet, and we may not have enough time to even get into that. But the process that is leading to it is still very much active, but it's getting extremely complicated. I don't think we have the time to even go into it. But because I'm so aware of that, I'm aware that the timing of the film is perfect in that respect, because it dovetails directly into things that are happening on the Hill right now that are somewhat in jeopardy because of the extraordinary events that are happening in every other aspect of our society.
Did you see James Fox's The Program?
Yeah.
Okay, you saw it. Who was in the last scene in the film?
I don't remember.
Me. So
I should have remembered that.
Yeah. Anyway, but that's not the point. The point is, Fox is dealing with the same subjects as Disclosure, the new film.
Mm-hmm. That's
but
right.
He presents it as an act 1, act 2, act 3. He's got some talking heads, of course, but he's also showing the process and how things are done. And fantastic film. But to your point, the timing of the release of that film was very important with what is going on right now. And James stressed over it. James sat and edited that film, I know because I dealt with it, for a year and a half, poring over every edit as a true artist should, to make sure that it had maximum impact on the viewer, and that your attention is always there. And the timing of that film and its release couldn't have been better. And I agree with you. I agree. So we'll see. We'll see what
Kobe took
happens.
it away. But again, why didn't Hollywood come to James and say, you've done some films, you really know this business and everything else. We want to give you a deal, $4 million, $5 million.
I just told you he had that deal with the Phenomenon.
No, he made the film and got a deal to put it up. I'm talking about coming to him up front and saying, we want you to make a film, James. We want to give you $6-7 million. We got top talent. Why didn't they do that? They didn't do that because it's not acceptable for them to do that. It's still not something
before you say that as fact, you should have a conversation with James about it. I don't want to speak for James. Okay, that's what I would do. Don't state that as fact.
Well, I'm not. Are you saying that there were people in Hollywood?
I'm not speaking for James.
Okay, I would maybe if that happened, he'll let me know. Right? Hollywood has not been helping the people in this field create content. The major Hollywood, right? Thank God for the internet, right? And for the streaming services that allowed our docs to start actually making money, which is good, and it helped. But before the streaming service, they were still making. It went through hell, right? This subject was embargoed by Hollywood as a narrative, as not as a narrative, as
certainly was. Certainly was.
And I would like to see them make up for that. And Dan Farah, in his effort, has tried to do that. He's put his reputation behind this issue right up front. And he has a real reputation as a high-end producer in this town. And so it makes it easier for some of these other producers, and that maybe they'll make a better film. But the idea that it has to be a really great film in order to give it the distribution, I could, if it was about another subject, maybe about the whales or something, but it's about a subject that couldn't be hotter right now than it is. And so it's going to make money. I don't care how talking head it is, because it's just absolutely perfect for what's going on. The people that are in the film are the very people that are trying to finally end the truth embargo. Right. And so it does, so it's not.
We're kicking a dead horse. You can have the most spectacular book with the most information, the most amazing movie with the most information. But if it's not compelling and it doesn't resonate with people and people don't see it, then it's worthless. Well, so either you want people to see it or not. You want a good film and nobody sees it. If that's what you're asking for, fine. I want the opposite, Steve.
But it's
I
not
want a good
nothing,
film,
Jimmy.
and I want people to see it.
It's not as if huge numbers of people will go or nobody will go. There is a lot of space in the middle. The idea that nobody will, of course, some people will go see it. To say the worst bombs that Hollywood's put out of the big screens have gotten some audience. So it will get an audience, I assure you, and they will go and they will pay a ticket and make some money. And they may come out and say, look, it was a little long. It was a little boring. Don't know, because it's never happened. Right. So it's not all or nothing. There is a middle ground, and we can't even go to the middle ground. I mean, I remember in the early days, I kept hearing over and over, you say there's ETs here, Steve. Well, look, I want to see an ET. You've got to get an ET in front of me. Otherwise, I'm never going to believe it. And I'm going, of course, as long as you put it that way, you'll never believe it. And we're never going to make any progress. And that's not how science works. It's not how life works, but it's how it had to work for us. The truth embargo, one of the most, and by the way, if anybody's got like $10 or $15 million, I've made two fairly feeble attempts at this, either indirectly or directly, to make what I think will be the ultimate film that has to be made. It will be the Ken Burns Civil War of this genre, Truth Embargo, a film that
you're dropping Ken Burns. You need to be careful, man.
No, I'm saying Ken Burns made an unbelievable documentary series about the Civil War.
He's my hero.
And I happen to think that the Truth Embargo, not the ET presence, I'm talking about the Truth Embargo, the way the United States government was able to maintain this lie for 80 years, not just in the United States, but also in all the countries, is one of the most amazing stories in history, with much of it still hidden. It's unbelievable. It's one of the most extraordinary accomplishments any government has ever done. They were able to pull it off. And so
you're going to top Ken Burns.
No, I'm not saying top it. I'm saying
I'm just messing with you. I'm just messing. Do you know Ken Burns because of his style,
I love Ken.
can make anything great.
Good.
We'll
hire him to be the director.
I watched an 8-part documentary, 3 hours each. That's 24 hours on Frank Lloyd Wright. And I never left my room.
I know.
I stayed right there, man. Ken Burns. Jazz, that's a really good documentary. Again, 24 hours, 8 parts, 3 hours each. The History of Radio by Ken Burns. Go watch that.
He's a genius. We loved Ken Burns. Okay. And he made these documentaries. But the government didn't get in the way and say, Mr. Burns, what the hell are you doing? There wasn't a civil war. Why are you making a documentary about something that doesn't exist? That's ridiculous, right? And we're going to piss on you. Or there's no such thing as jazz. There is an extraterrestrial presence. There is a truth embargo, but the government says there isn't. And so the reason we need that, well, maybe this way. Let me turn that around. We will get disclosure, and then the government will acknowledge, we embargo the whole damn thing, but it was all national security, and everybody, okay, there really was an embargo. And that is an unbelievable history. And I'm saying that a massive series, documentary series about that truth embargo, because of the issue, and it's a pretty big deal, could be an extraordinary series, kind of at that level. But of course, it would need a Ken Burns directing. That's the thing I want to be in. I'll just consult. Hell, I'll just bring the donuts. Just get me into that film. Will there be such a doc? I think there will be, assuming we don't have a nuclear war before it can get done. But again, the truth embargo is not fully appreciated. And I talk about this all the time. It's like, how did they get away with it? How did they keep the film industry and all of the colleges and universities and all the science entities and all the citizens in general and all of the people that were working in the system to keep their mouths shut and the other countries to cooperate? And then the fact that they're being seen and filmed and the evidence is piling up, millions of contactee reports, they managed to still keep it embargoed into the internet age, into the social media age. You know that in the last 6 months, we had one of the biggest UFO flaps of all time. It was basically a plasma effect flap, right? Balls of stuff that's able to move around.
A flap?
Yeah.
In the last 6 months?
You know what a UFO flap is? You know what that is, right?
No, I've never heard of it. What happened?
Of course you have. All right. So there was a UFO flap. One of the most famous was in 1952 when a bunch of
You
these...
said in the last 6 months.
Yes, I'll get to it. Have a sip.
We don't have time.
How much time have we got?
8 minutes.
Okay.
So what happened in the last 6 months? The biggest UFO flap.
The same thing that we saw in the Foo Fighters, the same thing that flew over Washington 52, were turning up all over facilities. They were flying in multiple groups, 30, 10, 15, plasma, I guess you could call it plasma ball, flying over bases, sensitive facility. What now?
Where?
In the United States.
When?
You're not aware of this?
What are you talking?
Was going
are you
on
talking about the drones over New Jersey?
No. The phenomena was plasma balls being filmed by people all over the country over military facilities, creating a massive UFO flap. Then, yeah, okay.
In the last 6 months.
Yeah, the last 6 months of last year, and it put the government in an impossible position because they could not do anything. They could shoot them down. They couldn't acknowledge it.
Somebody just said Jimmy wasn't read into it. Okay, I'm going to ask, and this is a big audience. Okay, let's see. Okay. Has anybody heard about this? I have no idea.
Here's the punchline. It was the biggest UFO flap in history that put the government in an impossible position because they couldn't ignore these things flying over bases. If they were flying over the middle of Kansas, who cared? And so what our government did was brilliant, or was best they could do. They put our own drones up into the phenomena. It's that they're flying over a military base. We set our own drones up there to be seen. And so people are seeing actual drones. And so that allowed them to say the whole thing was a drone swarm. It was a UFO flap that they tried to turn into a drone swarm. That's what happened. Now, eventually it's going to come out that that's what happened. But believe me, all of the video of these plasma balls over these things have been filmed all over the country. Hundreds, if not thousands of these films have been spread through the internet, and it was driving the friggin' government nuts. All right.
I didn't. How did I and my audience and the rest of the community missed this. This is big news. I want to cover this.
All right, I'll tell you what you do. I tell you what you do.
No, send me the videos and send me some information.
They're all over the place, Jimmy. Go have your people go look for them. Just Google drone swarms. Okay. Go on
that
YouTube.
I covered. I did interviews with all the media outlets called me and the drones over New Jersey, and we had them over Vandenberg, had them over my house. I published and posted my neighborhood watch freaking out on the drones here in the Mojave Desert. I didn't see them. I went outside. I didn't see them. But anyway, so I covered that. But plasma balls over
Plasma balls.
installate. No, I haven't. No, I haven't heard.
The videos are out there. Go look. Just go look. If you Google drone swarms, you will get the videos, right? And you will see some videos that seems to show a drone. Okay, but the plasma balls are still there as well. They tried to shoot them down. It was pointless. I mean, this is a big deal. Now, exactly, they managed to contain it. The key moment was when a journalist over the Pentagon is right in front of Admiral Kirby, who is a representative spokesman for the Pentagon, and she says, "Admiral, are these drones ours?" She's referring to the whole phenomena, including the plasma balls. So he says no, and then she says, "Okay, are they another country's?" And he says no. Okay, and so she says, "Do you know what they are?" And she says, "We don't know." Go watch that video. You're seeing a man caught between a rock and a hard place that's got to do something very tough and basically lie through his teeth because there's nothing they could say. And so the best they did was put our own drones up there. People will see them and they say, "Oh, it's all drones," without explaining the plasma balls, which were being seen by the dozens in formations moving around. Those films are out there, Jimmy. Ask the Vadernauts to go look for them, send them to you. You're going to be buried in those things. And in some of the videos, you will see something that's clearly a drone. But it's not them. That's us. What else could the government do? They threw our own drones up there so people would see some drones so they could say it's all drones. Now,
I thought about that. No, I thought about that. And I had said with these different journalists that were calling me for interviews and trying to get my opinion on it, whatever that matters. My opinion doesn't matter. But what I had said was this. It's possible. I'm not saying this is fact, but it's possible that we're seeing a mix of things. Because if you want to hide in plain sight, go hide in a drone swarm. If you want to cover up something else that might be extraterrestrial, throw some drones up there and confuse the mix.
Almost, you got to flip it.
I just gave you both versions. So
the plasma thing started first.
It doesn't matter.
It started to get filmed.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what I had told the media was that I don't have the answers to this. But if you are going to, if you needed to hide, you blend in with the crowd. That's what you do.
But it's not hiding. They wanted their drones to be seen. They couldn't.
The drones or the plasma balls?
No, they couldn't explain the plasma balls. Of course, they never could. They couldn't shoot them down. They tried.
Steve, you're missing my point.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm agreeing with you.
Okay.
I'm agreeing with you. All right. So that what you just said is what I had told the media. I can't say with 100% certainty it's this or it's this, but if you want to hide in plain sight, you do that. If you are up and you're the government and you want to cover this up, I'm talking about ET, you're up in the sky,
sure,
and you're the government and you want to hide this or trip out the media or the public, well, throw something into the mix as quick as you can.
In 1952, they didn't have drones. So these things were flying over the Capitol for 13 days, drove them crazy. There was nothing they could do. They gave some basic explanation. Keogh said there was extraterrestrials, and they said, "Go away, Keogh." They did the Robertson panel and started the truth embargo. But now they have drones. But the thing is most important. The magnitude of it was so huge that that's why I call it the biggest UFO flap in history. And the timing was very interesting. It was almost like the ETs are saying, you're almost there. You're just about there, but you're pushing back, right? You just won't get the damn job done. We're going to give you a little push. We're going to fly hundreds of our little plasma balls, Foo Fighters, over your military facilities and see how you deal with that. And I think it had an impact, but eventually they stopped. And so, again, my job is to follow this stuff as closely as possible. That's why I've logged 16,000 articles, real legitimate articles on about this from mainstream media on my website. You go read all 16,000. But in the last 7 years, the most number of all time have been coming out, and it's almost 7,000, triage from 30,000 other frivolous stuff. And so it's all coming to a head, Jimmy. It's about to happen, but it's so almost there, but we have huge things happening in various parts of the world. You know about that, and domestic politics. That's why we don't want to do anything that slows it down. We want to get behind it, push it. What you're doing, it's great. Do it. Let's go forward. Let's don't make perfect the enemy of the good, because right now we're at the critical moment. We must get this done. We have got to get disclosure because the world is teetering on the brink of disaster. They are massing B-2 bombers in Del Fuego, which are expected, if at any time, to bomb Iran. Literally bomb those facilities into nothing, which could launch the golden age of terrorism, if not a nuclear war. That's happening right now, and that's not the only thing. So we're really on the edge. So I just want to just keep the focus on let's move forward. And Dan Farah has done something that nobody has done, really, in a sense. He has made a documentary from the mainstream high-level Hollywood arena, or the big shots, and he has got in a film festival, and now has a decision. Just sell it to a streamer, make some bucks. It'll have some effect without question, and we'll share it. We'll spread the link. Or see if he can be the man who gets the first distribution that should have gone to James Fox. And I remember the day he called me when he'd lost the distribution because of COVID, but they found out they screwed up on the rights issue, and they had to give the rights over to, I think, Discovery for something like 4 months. And he just assumed that was going to take away everything. He was practically suicidal. And I said to James, man, I said, look, this is terrible, but just get the rights back eventually, which he did, and understand that when disclosure comes, you want to just rejigger a little bit and put out, edited a director's version of that thing. You'll make a fortune. Just don't shoot yourself, right? But he was distraught. History has stepped into this issue. When 9/11 happened, it blew the thing up. I was unbelievably upset. I had major gastro problems. When we were about to get Hillary Clinton elected, forget the politics, she was going to disclose everything. The stars were lining up. She lost. I was nuts. And there have been, and then in 2003, things were going. We had the Iraq War. We've had things get in the way of ending this embargo, which is one of the reasons the government has successfully been able to get away with it for 80 years, because the freaking Greek gods are up there going, we're going to screw around with you activists down here. You think you're going to get disclosure? Look what we can do. Okay. And so it's been maddening. But other activist movements have had the same thing. The civil rights movement was getting really close to finally really making progress. And suddenly we go to war in Vietnam and start killing people by the hundreds of thousands. Anti-war protests break out. All hell is raising. And that's definitely not helping their movement. They made great sacrifices, and a lot more of them were killed than in this movement. So I try to be, humble about it. It's not been easy. Problems keep arising. But the issue itself is the most important activist issue of all time. And I say that with humility because of the impact it will have, how fast that impact will take place, and how many of the 8.3 living beings, 8.3 billion people on this planet will be affected, and they will all be affected. And the potential change that could come out of it, the worldview change that Danny talks about, may be the one thing that saves us from ourselves, with or without a post-disclosure open contact with ETs, which I think will follow.
What a great day it's going to be. It's going to happen. And you and I are going to be right there sitting beside each other, still fighting. Yeah.
And we're going to be seeing each other at Contact in the Desert again.
Yeah, we will. I love hanging out with you there. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Great lineup.
I'll just tell everybody, look, you just got a little taste of Stephen and I. You should see us in a restaurant. It's good. We tip over tables and shit. That's great. But that, and that's the thing, Stephen, that I've always, you've got one endearing quality that I appreciate. And that is, we have a level of trust between the two of us. And
I just like your chocolate. I just like your chocolate almonds. But can I make a point? Can I make a point, Jimmy? I think you're going to get people saying this was a fantastic show. They're going to be saying, this is fantastic. I loved it, Jimmy. I loved it. And when they do, remind yourself that this was nothing but a show about talking heads.
You had to go there.
I had to go there.
That's the battle, not the war. Hey, Stephen, behave, my friend. Thank you so much. I'll see you in a little bit, of course, out at Contact. But if you want to get together, let me know. You've got my number.
I'm going to be in LA in about 4 weeks, and then I'm going to be coming back. So maybe when I get together, but whatever, we'll catch up.
Just hit me. Hit me when you're in town.
I will.
Thank you, Stephen. Behave and be well, my friend.
Peace, brother.
Stephen Bassett, Paradigm Research Group. His links are below. I said it at the top of the show. His passion is something that I have always respected and loved. Stephen Bassett, Paradigm Research Group, and HollywoodDisclosureAlliance.org. We'll get all of that up, and the links are out there. All right. That's it for tonight's show. That wraps everything. Today is my Friday. I'm going to head into the weekend. And let me tell you, I got a lot of housework to do. I showed everybody these guitars because they melted in the sun out here. So now I've got blackout shades for the back of my house. So that's my weekend. You think I'm some rock star just hanging out, doing that? No. I'm hanging shades on the east side of my house this weekend. I'll see everybody on Monday. Behave and be well. Go back, Lee Tappy. Fade to Black is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee Newman, and Michelle Freed. Special thanks to Bill, John, Dex, Jessica, Dennis, and Kevin. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music by Doug Aldrich. Intro, Space Boy. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network. This broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2024 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network, Inc. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Go back, Lee Tappy.